Hi, my name is Sharon, and I'm 46 years old, and I would like to tell you about my experience with brain-based therapy. I suffered from a lot of problems for many years, some of which may have stemmed from various accidents and injuries that I've had, going back to childhood. When I was a kid, I fell really hard and I hit my jaw on a pipe that was sticking out of the ground, and that has caused me problems all my life. In the 90s, I injured my back. In 2000, I was in a really bad car accident. I had 8 fractures, my collarbone, my shoulder, my 2 broken bones in my arm, my pelvis. I had to have plates in my arm. It was a really bad accident. And Dr. Roadhouse thinks that some of these injuries, especially the childhood fall and the car accident, have probably caused a lot of my problems later in life. But going back to childhood, I was dizzy all the time. My parents took me for tests. They could never find anything. As I got older, when I was a teenager, I would get lightheaded and feel faint. If I stood up too quick, my vision would go black. As I developed TMJ. When I was a young adult, I began to lose my memory. My memory began to decline, I would say. Over the years, these symptoms worsened and new ones developed. I always had to sleep a long time, even when I was a kid. But then I developed insomnia. That was terrible because when you can't sleep, you can't do anything, you can't function. I've always fatigued easily, but then I developed muscle pain, joint pain, a couple of hours working in the garden, mowing the lawn or weeding the garden, and it would incapacitate me for a couple weeks. I've always had really cold hands and feet. I was notorious for that, icy hands. But I started to develop a tingling sensation in my skin. It felt like bugs were crawling on my skin, like on my wrists and my ankles. I began to decline mentally. I started to feel confusion. I used to be like smart and quick-witted, and I was an avid reader. It got to the point where I would sometimes have to read a page 2 or 3 times to absorb what I was reading. My brain felt like it couldn't keep up. I'd have to ask people to repeat themselves. I had trouble expressing what I wanted to say. I would make mistakes doing the simplest math, just trying to add and subtract in my checkbook. I developed fibromyalgia. I didn't know it at the time. I realize it now, but I didn't know it at the time. Mental fog was the worst thing. The confusion and the mental fog, it's the most frustrating and the most troubling of my symptoms. I found myself depressed, feeling scatterbrained. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and I'm on medication for that. And over the years, I have sought medical help for all these things. As a child, I had tests for dizziness, and over the years there were blood tests, neurological tests, tests for physical things. They never showed anything, but I knew something was wrong. When doctors can't find anything wrong with you, they make it like it's your fault. They tell you, here, you need Prozac or you need sleeping pills. They just, after a while, after years of this, I resisted the drugs for a long time, but after years of that, I finally said, you know what, I'll take it, because something's wrong with me. My life, the quality of my life was just getting worse, and I knew something was wrong, and it wasn't too long after that, being offered something to help, and starting the antidepressants and the sleeping pills, that I discovered the brain-based therapy. I was already a client or a patient of Dr. Roadhouse for chiropractic, and I attended a dinner workshop, and I realized that Dr. Roadhouse understood exactly what I was talking about. he didn't treat me like I was crazy, and sometimes doctors do that. When they can't figure out what's wrong with you, they sometimes they treat you like there's something wrong with you mentally, and I knew there wasn't. And the treatment of brain-based therapy was outside the realm of anything I had experienced before. But traditional treatments obviously weren't helping me, and I already knew Dr. Roadhouse, and I trusted him completely, and I decided to explore the therapy, and I'm really glad I did. Dr. Roadhouse, he was already my doctor. He was familiar with my physical symptoms, and then of course he had to do a neurological exam on me, and the exam showed that my cerebellum wasn't working properly and probably hadn't been for years. I started the brain-based therapy right away. My treatments include oxygen therapy, sensory stimulation, some mental and physical exercises specifically designed to stimulate the cerebellum, and the difference has been amazing. My dizziness, it has reduced greatly. My tinnitus, I had tinnitus ever since I can remember. That is almost completely gone. My TMJ, I rarely have an occurrence or I rarely have any problem with my TMJ. I'm off the antidepressants. I'm off the sleeping medicine. My thyroid medicine has been reduced by half. I sleep better. I sleep more normal hours now. I sleep more restful sleep, and that makes a huge difference. Because when you can't sleep, you can't function. You can't function. My sense of balance has improved immensely. And I know this might not sound like much, but when you get out of the shower and you can't dry one foot at a time, because if you pick up one foot, you want to fall over. If you don't prop yourself up, it feels like you're going to fall over. And that's a little thing, but the day I realized I could just pick up my foot and dry it was, it was a little thing, but it was a big thing. Brain-based therapy has helped me in other ways. If I have an injury or if I've worked really hard and I have aches and pains from that, it doesn't incapacitate me for weeks. I heal like a normal person would. My fibromyalgia symptoms have improved dramatically. And there's one thing that the brain-based therapy helped me in a way that I never would have even imagined. I had a bladder problem for about 20 years. It was a recurring bladder problem. There was a lot of pain and inflammation, and it was a cystitis, but it was not caused by bacteria. It was caused by inflammation. And if a medical doctor, I went years always getting tested, always being put on antibiotics when I didn't even have a bacterial infection, which would actually increase the inflammation, being on antibiotics. If a doctor can't find an organic cause for your pain, then it must be in your head. And I knew it wasn't. And after doing a lot of research, I found out that this is called painful bladder syndrome. And the best I could hope for was to manage it as best I could and to learn to live with it. And after starting brain-based therapy, I found my symptoms quickly, almost went away completely. I've gone from having to go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times a night to sometimes sleeping the whole night through, sometimes having to go once, occasionally twice. But it used to be I couldn't go a night without having to get up 3 or 4 times during the night. It's made a huge difference. The brain-based therapy has just really improved my quality of life. I'm very, very glad I found it. I've known Dr. Roadhouse for a long time, and if they would give me 5 more minutes, I would brag about him because my husband and I really love him. He's an incredible chiropractor. We tell everybody about him, and the brain-based therapy has really helped me a lot.